Have you ever felt that invisible wall go up just as you're about to speak English, kind of paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake? Do you struggle maybe to keep your English learning consistent, feeling like you're constantly battling motivation fatigue amidst a busy life? What if the secret to fluency isn't just piling on more grammar, but actually mastering a skill that, well, few truly talk about the skill of staying motivated day in and day out? You're listening to Crystal Clear English. Learn English the crystal clear way. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're joining us for this deep dive. We really get that your journey to learn English is, well, incredibly exciting. I mean, it connects you to over 1 billion people worldwide. But yeah, we also know it can bring some truly unique challenges. Our mission today really is to unpack some powerful strategies and insights, stuff to help you overcome those common obstacles and keep your daily English learning vibrant and consistently moving forward. Because what we've seen time and again is that the learners who really achieve fluency aren't necessarily the most naturally gifted. They're the ones who develop those sustainable daily habits and, crucially, maintain their enthusiasm through the inevitable plateaus and setbacks.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How often the real hurdles aren't strictly linguistic, but, well, psychological.
Yeah.
When we look at why daily practice often falters for English learners, three common obstacles seem to pop up consistently. They're often kind of hidden. The first one is just this pervasive fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, this perfectionism. It can lead to real anxiety, making you hesitant, even reluctant to engage with the language at all, which then unfortunately just shrinks your opportunities to practice. It's a real cycle, and it's one we really need to break.
That's such a powerful point. I've definitely heard stories like that, learners freezing up even when they know the answer just because they're afraid of getting it wrong. What other kinds of hidden obstacles do you see popping up frequently?
Precisely. And that fear feeds right into the second challenge, having a limited practice environment. I mean, let's face it, for many learners, being surrounded by English speakers just isn't their daily reality. And finding easy access to immersion opportunities or even just regular conversation partners can be incredibly difficult. This lack of consistent, real-world interaction makes building confidence feel like a real uphill battle sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I can totally see how that would make sustained practice tough. Without those constant chances to actually use what you're learning, it must be so easy to lose momentum, right?
Indeed. And that brings us to the third hurdle, which is often about resources or the lack thereof. Not everyone has easy access to quality classes or a ton of books or native speaking mentors. And then you add in busy schedules, maybe demanding jobs or uni commitments, even technological barriers.
Yeah.
It can make consistent learning feel almost impossible, which, raises a big question. How do you keep going when the circumstances feel kind of stacked against you?
Well, and what's so crucial to remember here, and we really can't stress this enough, is that if you feel this way, you are absolutely not alone in these struggles. It's an experience shared by millions, honestly. Think about it. Something like 75% of the world's English speakers are non-native. That means countless individuals have navigated and overcome these exact same fears and constraints. Your journey is part of this huge global collective.
Yeah, and this brings us to a really powerful idea, maybe even a bit revolutionary for some listeners: motivation. It isn't some fixed trait you either have or you don't. It's not like eye color. If we think about language learning, motivation is actually a skill, something you can develop and strengthen through deliberate practice, just like building your English vocabulary or improving your listening skills. It demands consistent, daily engagement, even when, visible progress feels slow or non-existent. Think of it like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it genuinely becomes.
That's where it gets really exciting, I think. If we're treating motivation as a skill, then we need a solid foundation to build on. And for us, that really starts with a fundamental shift in perspective, a mindset shift. So instead of seeing yourself as someone who, say, struggles with English, we invite you to start identifying as someone who grows stronger in English every day. It's more than just positive thinking. It's about building an identity that actively supports consistent action.
Right, because when learning stops being just something you do and starts becoming an integral part of who you are, that's the magic moment. Motivation shifts. It goes from being this external requirement, this should, to a powerful internal drive. It becomes a natural extension of your identity, fueling your daily actions almost effortlessly sometimes.
So what does that actually mean for your daily practice? How does it look? It means developing a kind of balanced self-perception. You acknowledge where you are right now, honestly, but without judgment or harsh self-criticism. And at the same time, you keep a clear and inspiring picture of where you're heading, your future fluent self. This approach, it acts like a shield. It guards against discouragement from maybe setting the bar too high, but also against complacency, getting too comfortable and stopping short. So, with that foundational shift in place, let's unpack some really practical step by step strategies you can start using, like today.
Absolutely. Let's get practical. Step 1, clarify your why and set clear goals. It's easy to say generic things like, oh, I want to learn English for my career. That's fine, but we encourage you to dig much deeper, get to the emotional core, really picture it. How will fluent English specifically transform your life? Will it mean finally getting the jokes in your favorite English sitcom? Or maybe having the confidence to lead that international project meeting, expressing your ideas clearly, persuasively? Perhaps it's about navigating a new life abroad, connecting deeply with people and the culture. Your why needs to be vivid. It needs to be emotionally compelling enough to fuel the daily how.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Find that deep personal reason. And once you've really unearthed that powerful why, how do you translate it into actual trackable progress?
That's exactly where SMART goals come in. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. These aren't just corporate buzzwords. They give you clear milestones. They provide that vital sense of ongoing progress, which fuels motivation. So instead of a vague goal like get better at English, try something concrete like I will read one English news article every morning for the next month, or I'll have a 5-minute conversation with my language partner twice a week. And honestly, writing these goals down, it transforms fuzzy intentions into a real roadmap. It makes it tangible.
Right, so you've got your deep why, you've got your SMART goals written down. What's the next crucial step to keep that daily momentum actually going, especially on busy days?
Step 2 is all about designing your minimum viable learning day. This is so important. One of the biggest motivation killers. Setting ridiculously ambitious daily targets. I'll study for 2 hours every day. Because when you inevitably miss a day or even just fall short, the disappointment can completely derail your routine. Poof, gone. So the practical solution is to define the absolute smallest amount of English practice that still counts as moving forward.
I find this concept so incredibly freeing, actually. It shifts the question, doesn't it? It's not what's the maximum I should do today. It's what's the absolute minimum I can realistically do today to keep the chain unbroken.
Precisely. That's exactly it. And this minimum could be tiny. Maybe it's just reading one English news headline, or having a quick 2-minute conversation with yourself in English while you make coffee, or listening to just one English song, really listening during your commute. The goal is to establish a habit that's so incredibly manageable you can stick with it, even on your absolute busiest, lowest energy days. And what we consistently see is that starting small often naturally blossoms into longer practice sessions anyway.
Wow.
Because often the hardest part is just starting.
That's such a brilliant way to overcome that initial inertia. Just get the ball rolling, even if it's just a tiny push. And this ties perfectly into step 3, doesn't it? Cultivating a growth mindset and using positive self-talk. We know that fear of making mistakes often comes from a fixed mindset, that belief like, oh, I'm just not good at English. How do we actively work on flipping that script?
You have to consciously reframe how you see challenges and errors. It takes practice. Start embracing challenges as prime opportunities to learn. View every single error not as a failure, but as a stepping stone for improvement. Think of it as useful data. It tells you exactly where you need to focus next. So instead of thinking, ugh, I made a mistake, try thinking, okay, that's interesting. That shows me where my pronunciation needs a bit more work. Or, I need to review that grammar point. Focus on the process, the journey of learning, not just some distant, maybe impossible goal of perfection.
And alongside that mindset shift, how important is the stuff we actually say to ourselves, our internal dialogue?
Oh, critically important. You have to actively practice positive self-talk. Give yourself credit. Celebrate the fact that you spoke up, even if it wasn't perfect. Acknowledge the new words you learned, no matter how few. Maybe even keep a little mental tally, or better yet, write it down of your small daily victories. Remember that great quote from Zig Ziglar, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. By practicing positive self-talk, by noticing and acknowledging your achievements, however small they seem, you build real, lasting resilience. It compounds. Okay, moving on to step 4. Create a supportive learning environment. This is huge. You really don't have to go it alone on this journey. Things like joining study groups, finding language partners online or in person, or engaging with vibrant online communities and language exchange apps. They can make a massive difference. They can significantly reduce that anxiety we talked about and dramatically boost your learning. These interactions give you real-world practice, often valuable feedback, and just crucial moral support. Knowing others are in the same boat helps.
Absolutely, that sense of community can be so motivating. But what if finding direct conversation partners is tricky or just not always practical day to day? How can someone still immerse themselves?
Yeah, great question. Even then, the possibilities are vast. You can still immerse yourself in English media. Watch your favorite TV shows, maybe with English subtitles first, then maybe without. Listen to English music. Really pay attention to the lyrics. Listen to podcasts like this one. All of this keeps your mind actively engaged with the language. It makes learning feel far less like a chore and much more like entertainment or just part of your daily routine. Which actually leads us very nicely into step 5. Make learning fun and varied. Let's be honest, a consistent routine is way easier to maintain if you actually enjoy it, right?
Absolutely. Boredom is the enemy of consistency, isn't it? So, yeah, don't be afraid to mix things up. Keep it fresh. One day, maybe it's listening to a podcast. The next, a short chat with a friend online. Then, maybe playing a language learning game or watching a short film clip in English. Variety is key. And this is something I really love. Actively integrate English into your existing passions. Weave English into your hobbies. Like if you love cooking, start reading recipes in English. If you're into fitness, follow workout videos with English instructions. Play video games, try them with English audio or subtitles. This makes the whole process enjoyable and infinitely more sustainable because you're basically doing something you already love at Oddish, at English.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the simple power of rewards either. Treat yourself after reaching a small milestone, maybe finishing a chapter in an English book or having your first 5-minute conversation. It helps your brain associate learning with positive feelings, reinforcing the habit loop. Doesn't have to be big, maybe just an extra episode of that show or a nice cup of coffee. Okay, step 6. Track your progress and celebrate small wins. The learning curve, especially after the beginner stages, often feels frustratingly slow. It's really easy to overlook just how far you've actually come. So we strongly advise tracking your progress, but using multiple methods. Sure, a simple journal or an app log where you note down new words, pages read, or minutes spoken is great. Keep track of the quantifiable stuff. But also try tracking your soft skills, things like noticing you feel a bit more confident speaking or feeling less bothered when you make a mistake. Those are huge wins too.
Ooh, I love that idea of tracking soft skills. And maybe even keeping a victory journal. Like at the end of each day, just jot down one thing, just one that you did well in English that day, or one thing you learned. It consciously trains your brain to actually notice the improvement, which builds massive confidence over time. And always remember that powerful concept, the compound effect of small wins. Little by little, little becomes a lot. Those tiny, consistent efforts, they really do accumulate into something big.
They absolutely do. And finally, step 7, build accountability without pressure. Finding a supportive accountability partner, maybe a fellow learner, could be a friend or family member, or even just checking in with an online community. This can significantly accelerate your progress.
Yeah, but the emphasis here has to be on supportive, right? Collaborative support, not judgment. The idea is regular check-ins, maybe focused on encouragement, sharing struggles, problem solving together, rather than like strict performance reviews. That way, accountability becomes a source of positive reinforcement, not just another source of pressure or stress. Okay, pausing here for a second. If these insights and strategies are sparking some new ideas for your own English journey, make sure you hit that follow and subscribe button. We've got so much more amazing stuff coming your way to help you learn English the crystal clear way. Don't miss out.
All right, and now for our final step, step 8. Develop resilience strategies and really connect with your progress story. Look, every single English learner faces days or even weeks when motivation just seems to vanish. It happens. It's normal. For those moments, we strongly advise creating what you might call a low motivation toolkit. This is basically a pre-planned collection of the absolute easiest, lowest effort English activities you can possibly turn to on those tough days. Maybe it's just listening to one favorite English song you know all the words to, or rereading just one familiar paragraph from a book you love, or watching a super short, funny English video on YouTube.
That sounds incredibly practical, like having an emergency plan for when your motivation tanks.
It is. And always, always remember this. Motivation often follows action. It doesn't always precede it. We wait to feel motivated, but sometimes we just have to act first. Committing to even just 5 minutes of one of those easy activities from your toolkit can often, surprisingly, extend into a longer, more productive session. Your brain kind of wakes up. But even if it doesn't, even if you just do those 5 minutes, you've maintained that crucial daily connection. You kept the chain intact. The habit survives.
And connecting with your progress story. What does that look like? That sounds really powerful too, your English journey as a narrative.
It is. Take time regularly, maybe once a month, to reflect on your progress. Look back at where you started. Try seeing setbacks not as failures, but as, plot complications in your story.
Yeah.
Challenges to overcome. Think about how far you've actually come since you first began this journey. Acknowledge that effort. And sometimes even sharing your progress story, maybe with your accountability partner or in an online forum, can powerfully reinforce your own commitment and maybe even inspire others around you.
Okay, so we've got these 8 steps, this great toolkit. But even with all that, there were some really common motivation obstacles that still tend to trip people up, right? Let's talk about the classic plateau problem. That feeling like your progress is just completely stalled, even though you were putting in the effort.
Ah, yes, the plateau. It feels so real, doesn't it? But what's fascinating, linguistically and neurologically, is that language learning rarely follows a neat, straight upward line. It's not linear. It often follows more of a spiral pattern. And those apparent plateaus, they're often crucial consolidation periods. Your brain is busy integrating all the stuff you've learned recently, making connections, strengthening neural pathways below the surface. It's not a stop. It's actually a vital phase of deeper absorption and automation. So keep practicing, trust the process, and you will eventually experience those breakthroughs. They often come after a plateau.
That's really reassuring, actually. It's not stalling, it's consolidating. Okay, what about the perfectionism trap? That intense desire to speak perfectly, which ironically can utterly paralyze learners and stop them from speaking at all.
Yeah, we touched on this, but it bears repeating because it's so common. We just can't overstate the importance of reframing mistakes. Embrace them. See them as valuable learning data, not as failures reflecting on your worth or ability. Every single error actually provides specific, actionable information for improvement. It's like free feedback. Consider it a gift, honestly. A clear signpost pointing you exactly where you need to refine your understanding or your pronunciation. It's simply a chance to learn, not a reason to shut down or stop trying.
And then there's the comparison struggle. Oh, this one is huge, especially with social media. It's just so easy to look at other learners, maybe someone who seems to be progressing faster, or even native speakers, and feel profoundly discouraged about your own perceived shortcomings.
Yeah, the comparison trap is brutal. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's just vital to recognize that everyone's learning journey is unique, completely unique. It's influenced by countless personal factors. Your native language background, your individual learning style, how much time you can realistically dedicate, your access to resources, your daily life circumstances, the list goes on. So the only healthy thing to do is focus solely on your personal growth trajectory. Your progress measured against your own starting point is the only metric that actually matters. Celebrate your individual steps forward, however small they seem compared to others. Your race, your pace.
Your race, your pace. I like that. Okay, and finally, the one we probably all use sometimes, the infamous time excuse. I just don't have time to learn English.
Right. And often, let's be honest, this isn't truly about a literal lack of any time. It's usually more about how English learning is prioritized among everything else demanding our time. So we really encourage just a brief, honest audit of your daily schedule. Where are the little pockets? Could it be 5 minutes while waiting for the kettle to boil? 10 minutes during your lunch break instead of scrolling? 15 minutes listening to a podcast while commuting or doing chores instead of music? Find those small, consistent pockets. Because remember, consistency matters far, far more than duration, especially at the beginning. Even 5 or 10 minutes done daily, consistently adds up to significant progress over weeks and months. It really does. And ultimately, building long-term sustainability, making this last, is all about that seamless integration we talked about. Weaving English into activities you already do regularly, making it feel like a natural part of your life, not an extra chore. So consciously decide, okay, from now on, I'll check the news in English, or I'll follow 5 new accounts on social media related to my hobby, but in English. Intentionally include English songs and podcasts in your daily listening playlists. Make it ambient sometimes, make it active other times.
Yeah, that integration approach makes so much sense. It makes English practice feel less like this additional burden you have to somehow squeeze in, and more like just a natural, maybe even enjoyable part of your existing life rhythm. It's not something extra you have to do. It just becomes woven into the fabric of your day.
Exactly. And that leads us right back to the incredible power of consistency and the compound effect. It applies so perfectly here. Small, consistent actions, repeated day after day, week after week, they genuinely create dramatic results over time. It might not feel like it day to day, but it happens. Just like a small daily financial investment can grow into significant wealth through compounding interest, those tiny amounts of English practice, when applied consistently, compound into fluency. So trust the process. Keep celebrating those small victories along the way, and maintain your daily commitment, whatever that minimum viable day looks like for you. Your future fluent self will absolutely thank you for the consistent effort you're putting in today.
So just to kind of recap and really reinforce the core message of this deep dive today, staying motivated isn't magic, it's a skill. And it's one that you absolutely can cultivate with purposeful goals, that deep why, combined with a growth mindset and a supportive, consistent plan. Remember, every mistake is just a vital part of learning, and every single effort, no matter how small it feels on any given day, genuinely counts towards your goal.
Absolutely. And we really, truly believe in you and your ability to achieve whatever your English learning goals are. Just remember, you are part of this vast, amazing global community of learners, millions strong. And every expert you admire in any field was once a beginner who simply refused to give up. Keep going.
And hey, if you want more insights and strategies just like this to really supercharge your English learning journey, please remember to follow and subscribe to Crystal Clear English right here. Don't miss out on another amazing deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us today. Learning another language is like becoming another person.